As materials management moves from project execution into long-term operations, the role of the supply chain changes with it. During capital projects, success is usually measured by how efficiently materials are procured and delivered to support construction schedules. Once a facility moves into operations, the priority becomes keeping equipment running, supporting maintenance work, and helping the plant operate safely over the long term. At that point, the supply chain becomes part of daily operational performance rather than a function focused primarily on project delivery. This responsibility extends past the materials originally delivered during the engineering project. Operations depend on spare parts, consumables, repairable components, and other ongoing material needs that keep assets functioning over time. When a critical replacement part is unavailable or lead times become too long, the impact is immediate. Maintenance work slows, downtime increases, and operational risk grows. In an operating facility, supply chain failures are business disruptions that directly affect asset reliability and financial performance. Because of this, supply chain discipline is essential to long-term operational success. Material master quality, procurement processes, supplier management, inventory planning, and logistics all need to operate through a connected materials management approach instead of isolated activities. Reliable material data improves purchasing decisions and creates greater confidence in inventory accuracy, while helping maintenance teams trust the systems they rely on every day. This chapter focuses on the supply chain foundation that supports reliable operations and stronger lifecycle asset performance long after the project phase is complete. Demand forecasting and inventory strategy. Operational demand begins with asset operations and maintenance. Preventive maintenance plans, emergency repairs, planned overhauls, sustaining capital projects, and routine operational work all create material demand. Understanding where demand originates is critical to building a supply chain that supports reliability instead of reacting to shortages. Demand forecasting depends heavily on good maintenance records and work history. Organizations must be able to look back at completed work orders and understand what materials were required, how often they were used, and where failures occurred. This historical visibility improves planning for future work and reduces dependence on emergency purchasing and guesswork. Material requirements. Planning, MRP, provides the structure to convert this demand into replenishment strategies and decisions. It helps organizations determine which materials should be stocked, which items should be purchased only when needed, and how inventory levels can support operations without creating unnecessary capital exposure. Critical spares, insurance spares, and consumables all require different strategies based on lead times, failure risk, and business consequences. To support consistent decision-making, these activities should operate within a clear materials management policy that defines how inventory is managed across the organization. Without that structure, stocking decisions become reactive and inconsistent, driven more by urgency than operational strategy. One of the most common results is overinvestment in low-value inventory, while truly critical equipment remains underprotected. Over time, this ties up capital in the wrong materials, while reliability risks continue to grow in the areas that matter most. Key questions to ask. Do we understand where operational material demand originates and how it should be planned? Are maintenance records and work order history being used to improve forecasting decisions? Is there a clear materials management policy guiding stocking and replenishment decisions? Category management and strategic sourcing. As organizations improve forecasting and inventory planning, sourcing strategies must also be more aligned to operational priorities. Category management helps organizations group materials into meaningful segments such as maintenance spares, consumables, insurance spares, kits, critical spares, and everyday operating supplies. This allows the business to apply the right buying strategy to the right type of demand. McKinsey notes that organizations using strategic category management to group similar goods and services can improve margins by 10 to 20% through stronger efficiency, cost savings, and risk mitigation. ABC analysis also plays an important role in identifying high-value or high-impact SKUs that require stronger controls and visibility. Some materials create greater reliability risk, while others carry higher financial exposure. Clear category designations improve prioritization and decision-making. These categories also shape supplier strategy. Critical spares may require long-term OEM relationships, specialized technical support, and guaranteed service levels, while low-value, fast-moving items such as consumables may place greater emphasis on procurement speed, supplier availability, and cost efficiency. Mature organizations recognize that procurement decisions should reflect operational importance rather than treating every purchase the same way. This approach improves supplier performance and reduces unnecessary supply chain costs. Key questions to ask. Are systems, processes, and data integrated to effectively connect varied demand sources with the right supply strategy? Are materials grouped in a way that supports better purchasing and supply decisions? Does ABC analysis help prioritize high-value and high-risk inventory? Materials management. Once sourcing and inventory strategies are established, the focus shifts toward operational execution. Materials management is where planning becomes execution through inventory planning, replenishment, stock movement, material costing and valuation, physical accuracy, and the day-to-day discipline required to ensure that the supply chain performs reliably. Inventory planning and MRP execution help align stock levels with actual operational demand while avoiding unnecessary working capital exposure. At the same time, receiving, transfers, material issues, and returns must be tracked accurately so that system inventory reflects what is physically available in the warehouse. However, if inventory accuracy drifts, operational confidence drops. This remains a major challenge across the broader supply chain industry. A 2025 Gartner survey found that only 29% of supply chain organizations have built the capabilities needed to support future performance, with AI readiness and visibility identified as major gaps. When technicians or planners do not trust system inventory, they create shadow inventory, bypass controls, and rely on emergency purchases. Over time, this weakens planning discipline and increases dependence on manual workarounds. Strong reconciliation processes prevent this breakdown. Materials costing models also matter, helping organizations understand the true financial impact of inventory decisions and spare parts strategies. Kitting and staging further improves maintenance efficiency by ensuring materials are prepared and available before work begins. When technicians spend less time searching for parts, maintenance activities become more efficient and predictable, helping reduce downtime and improve operational reliability. One of the most damaging hidden problems in operations is the gradual loss of confidence in warehouse and inventory data. Once trust in the system is lost, inventory management becomes increasingly reactive and dependent on manual workarounds rather than reliable planning. As such, inventory accuracy directly affects overall supply chain performance. Key questions to ask. Are replenishment and stock movements accurate enough to support trusted inventory decisions? Do reconciliation processes prevent inventory errors and shadow stock behavior? Are kitting and staging improving maintenance productivity and execution efficiency? Contracts. Management. Operations also depend on consistent access to materials, services, and supplier support, making contracts management a critical part of supply chain reliability. Strong contracts provide commercial stability by defining pricing structures, supply expectations, service levels, and response commitments before urgent operational needs arise. In asset-intensive industries, a significant portion of operational spending is tied to suppliers, making contracts management a critical control layer within digital operations and supply chain governance. Digitally transforming procurement and supply chain processes without digitizing contracts often results in disconnected workflows, poor visibility, and long-term value leakage. Long-term agreements for OEM support, repair services, contractor support, and critical materials help reduce procurement variability while improving responsiveness during outages, shutdowns, and unplanned failures. Framework agreements and service contracts also reduce dependence on repetitive transactional buying by creating more stable supplier relationships aligned to operational priorities. Contracts should clearly define delivery expectations as well as repair turnaround requirements, warranty responsibilities, and emergency response obligations. Models such as vendor-managed inventory, VMI, and consignment inventory can further improve material availability while reducing local inventory burden. Without strong contract discipline, organizations fall back on spot buying and reactive sourcing, increasing both operational risk and long-term cost exposure. One of the most common mistakes in operations is treating contracts as purchasing tools instead of reliability tools. Procurement decisions based only on short-term cost savings frequently create larger problems through delayed deliveries, poor outage support, and inconsistent supplier performance. Effective contracts protect uptime by establishing clear accountability, measurable service expectations, and dependable supply continuity before failures occur. Key questions to ask. Do contracts support reliability and continuity, not just pricing? Are critical services and materials protected by strong long-term supplier agreements and partnership models? Are outsourcing models like VMI or consignment being used where they create value? What decisions today rely on human memory of contracts, and how quickly can contractor performance be measured? Vendor performance, expediting and logistics channels. Supplier relationships and operations are built around reliability and operational continuity, not simply purchasing transactions. Vendor performance must be measured by responsiveness, lead time reliability, repair turnaround, technical support, and supply continuity rather than the lowest cost. Clear KPIs and service-level expectations help organizations track supplier performance and address problems before they impact operations. Lead time consistency, emergency response, warranty support, and repair performance are typically more important than unit pricing when protecting uptime. Expediting is also a critical capability when urgent material or service needs arise. Production-critical failures, shutdowns, and emergency maintenance require formal expediting processes rather than informal escalation. This becomes even more important for offshore facilities, remote plants, and hard-to-reach locations where logistics channels create additional delivery risk. Visibility into transportation, supplier readiness, and delivery status protects operational continuity. Another common issue is measuring suppliers only by price. Lowest-cost vendors frequently create late deliveries, poor repair quality, weak warranty response, and unreliable outage support. Mature operations supply chains, however, recognize that supplier performance is measured by uptime protection instead of purchase price alone. Key questions to ask. Our supplier KP is focused on reliability and responsiveness instead of cost only? Do formal expediting processes exist for urgent operational needs? Are logistics channels designed to support remote and high-risk delivery environments? Do we have long-term supplier relationships supported by clear scorecards and performance expectations that define what success looks like? Operational procurement and financial control. Operational procurement must balance speed, governance, and financial discipline. Facilities frequently require multiple buying channels, including purchase orders, procurement cards, contracts, and spot buys for low-value purchases. The goal is not to slow down the purchasing, but to ensure that the right buying method is used for the right type of demand while minimizing any financial risks. Low-value purchases should not create unnecessary administrative burden, but they must still align with approved suppliers, inventory strategies, and spending controls. Without clear governance, organizations drift into inconsistent buying behavior that increases cost and weakens supply chain discipline. Financial control is equally important. Three-way matching between purchase orders, goods receipts, and supplier invoices ensures organizations only pay for what was verified. Full traceability, once materials arrive on site, is essential, especially for inspections and quality validation. Weak controls create payment leakage, supplier disputes, and inaccurate inventory records, as well as create operational risks in asset reliability and uptime. Operational procurement also plays a direct role in maintenance effectiveness and operational reliability. When procurement processes are disconnected from maintenance priorities, organizations experience delayed repairs, excessive expediting, unplanned downtime, and increased reliance on emergency purchasing. Strong alignment between procurement, materials management, and maintenance planning helps ensure critical materials are available when needed. Supplier response expectations are understood, and operational work can be executed predictably rather than reactively. Over time, this alignment reduces supply chain variability, improves cost control, and strengthens confidence in overall operational readiness. Organizations without a clear materials management policy often normalize emergency buys, shadow purchasing, and procurement bypasses. Over time, this creates reactive chaos where standards are ignored, and urgent buying becomes the default operating model. Strong procurement governance prevents urgency from replacing discipline and protects both financial control and supply chain reliability. Key questions to ask. Are procurement channels governed to support both speed and financial control? Do material inspections and receiving processes support full traceability? Are material inspections backed up with relevant quality standards enabling asset reliability? Is invoice matching consistently enforced to protect payment accuracy? What is the key data that needs to be tracked to avoid stockouts, misidentified materials, and overpayment? Technology integration and analytics. As supply chains become more connected, technology plays a larger role in supporting visibility and operational decision-making. Operations supply chains depend on integrated processes, connected systems, and trusted data. An integrated platform of ERP applications, for example SAP, Oracle, Microsoft Dynamics, etc., and EAM solutions, for example IBM Maximo, Hexagon, IFS, etc., should be the priority because they provide a shared foundation for capabilities, enablement in procurement, maintenance, inventory, and financial control. Without process integration, teams rely on spreadsheets, tribal knowledge, and manual workarounds that reduce visibility and decision quality. Technology must be properly supported to be effective. Good systems without strong ownership, user adoption, and process discipline quickly become unreliable. Material masters, supplier data, purchasing history, and maintenance demand must all operate from a single source of truth. Organizations must also understand how digitization, analytics, and automation support different operational goals, so technology investments remain aligned to business outcomes. Dashboards, vendor scorecards, reporting, and analytics help organizations identify operational risks earlier and make more informed decisions before issues begin affecting operations. This visibility allows teams to proactively monitor supplier performance, stockout exposure, MRP effectiveness, and procurement compliance rather than reacting after disruptions occur. As digital maturity improves, AI further strengthens this capability by helping organizations identify supplier risk, forecast shortages, and improve planning with greater accuracy. AI is also transforming MRO inventory management from a reactive and experience-driven process into a more predictive and risk-based approach that supports smarter stocking decisions and stronger operational reliability. One of the biggest opportunities for customers is creating a true single source of truth across ERP, EAM, procurement, and warehouse systems. When these platforms operate independently, planning becomes slow and maintenance turns reactive, inefficient, and heavily dependent on manual workarounds. When connected properly with a clear, technology-supported business process for materials management, organizations gain trusted forecasting, stronger supplier visibility, reduced expediting, and far better decision-making across the business. Key questions to ask. Are ERP and EAM systems fully connected and trusted across the business? Are you leveraging AI-infused solutions to optimize your MRO inventory while reducing operational risks? Do dashboards and scorecards support proactive supply chain decisions? Is technology improving execution or simply creating more reporting? Do you have the data quality needed to successfully support future AI-driven decision-making? Governance, KPIs, and supply chain performance. Strong operations. Supply chains depend on clear governance and trusted data. Materials data must be managed across master, referential, and transactional levels, each supporting a different part of operational decision-making. Without consistent governance, visibility declines and supply chain performance becomes increasingly reactive. Should measure how effectively the supply chain supports operations rather than simply reporting activity. Metrics such as stockouts, supplier delays, turnovers, rush orders, and inventory accuracy help organizations identify operational risk before production is impacted. Visibility into maintenance schedules and warehouse inventory further strengthens planning and decision-making. The strongest organizations use KPIs as leading indicators rather than retrospective reports. Instead of asking, "What went wrong?" they use visibility into supplier delays, critical spare exposure, rush orders, and inventory accuracy to identify risk before production is impacted. This shifts supply chain management from reporting problems to preventing them. Key questions to ask. Is data governance clearly defined across master, referential, and transactional data? Can we clearly see where supply chain issues are creating operational risk? Our KP is helping teams prevent problems instead of only reporting them after the fact. Do supplier scorecards and procurement performance metrics clearly identify where small operational improvements can create larger long-term gains? Thinking about the future of operations. Supply chain management is moving from reacting to shortages toward planning with confidence. Better forecasting, stronger supplier visibility, and connected systems allow organizations to anticipate material needs before downtime or maintenance delays occur. As digital maturity increases, AI and advanced analytics will continue improving planning accuracy and inventory decision-making. Materials inventory optimization will become more dynamic, helping organizations reduce operational risk while managing working capital more effectively. The real goal is stronger operational decision-making. Organizations that invest in trusted data, disciplined processes, and connected systems will move beyond reactive supply chain management toward a more reliability-focused operating model where procurement, inventory, and maintenance planning work together more effectively. For most organizations, the greatest long-term opportunity is getting the project to operations handover right from the beginning. Clean material masters, accurate BOM structures, trusted supplier data, and clearly defined critical spares create the foundation required for forecasting, AI enablement, and advanced inventory optimization to deliver meaningful value over time.